Hello everyone and welcome to lesson number 9, where you will be learning all about the Forex trading sessions, what time the trading sessions open and close and which session is the best to trade. We will also share with you the best times for trading and also the best days to be trading. Before we start, make sure you subscribe, if you haven't already. Help us out with a like and subscribe, we really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, put them down in the comments below, we always read your comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on bell notifications. It really helps the channel to grow. Before we jump into the lesson, a quick disclaimer. Smart Forex Trading offer educational videos to help and educate Forex traders. Information on this channel is for educational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. We must advise you Forex trading carries a high level of risk, and you should be aware of the risks before trading in Forex. Welcome to lesson 9, and it's time to learn all about the different Forex trading sessions. You will often hear the Forex market is open 24 hours. That is very true, but you need to understand there are different trading sessions which open and close during the day. Just as one trading session closes, another trading session is opening, and in this manner the Forex market is seen to be open 24 hours. As a Forex trader, you will need to know when each session opens and closes, as the different sessions can have a big impact on the market and your profits. For example, when the London session opens, the markets will suddenly jump up or down. This is often called the London breakout, and this can be a profitable time to trade. You should also know there are times when the market moves at a snail pace. Really, you don't want to be watching the markets at this time. It's best to close your laptop and do something else, like go to the gym. It will really help you in your trading to know what are the best times to trade. Before looking at the best times to trade, we must look at what a 24-hour day in the Forex world looks like. The Forex market can be broken up into 4 major trading sessions: the Sydney session, the Tokyo session, the London session, and the New York session. Just to give you a little insight, historically, the Forex market has 3 peak trading sessions. Traders often focus on one of the 3 trading periods, rather than attempt to trade the markets 24 hours per day. These sessions consist of Tokyo, London, and New York sessions. Okay, let's take a deep dive into the opening and closing times for each session. The international date line starts at New Zealand, and since New Zealand is a major financial center, the Forex markets open there on Monday morning at 8 AM New Zealand time, while it is still Sunday in most of the world. Even though trading starts in New Zealand, it's still called the Sydney session. Actual open and close times are based on local business hours, with most business hours starting somewhere between 7 to 8 AM local time. Quick tip for you. It's important to remember that the Forex market's opening hours will change in March, April, October, and November, as countries move to daylight savings on different days. Trading session overlaps. Also take notice that in between each Forex trading session, there is a period of time where 2 sessions are open at the same time. Naturally, these are the busiest times during the trading day because there is more volume and liquidity when 2 markets are open at the same time. This makes sense because, during those times, 2 markets are actively trading, which means that more money is transferring hands. You will soon learn that the London session normally provides the most movement. Now you understand the Forex market comprises of 4 trading sessions: Sydney, Tokyo, London, and New York. Let's look a little more closely at each session so you can work which session is best for your trading. Trading the Tokyo session. For traders living in America, the trading day begins on Sunday night at 5 PM Eastern Time. For those in London, trading starts on Sunday night at 10 PM. However, liquidity doesn't really show up until Tokyo opens a few hours later. The opening of the Tokyo session at 12 AM London time marks the start of currency trading in Asia. You should take note that the Tokyo session is sometimes referred to as the Asian session. One thing worth noting is that Japan is the 3rd largest Forex trading center in the world. Overall, around 20% of all Forex trading volume takes place during the Asian session. It's not all coming from just Tokyo though. There are other major financial centers in Asia, such as Singapore and Hong Kong. What's interesting is that nowadays, more Forex trading volume comes out of Singapore and Hong Kong than in Tokyo. Here are some tips you should know about trading during the Tokyo session. Trading isn't only limited to Japanese markets. Tons of Forex transactions are made in other financial hotspots like Hong Kong, Singapore, and Sydney. Liquidity can sometimes be very thin. There will be times when trading during this period will be like fishing. You might have to wait a long time before catching a fish. It is more likely that you will see stronger moves in Asia-Pacific currency pairs like Australian dollar to US dollar and New Zealand dollar to US dollar as opposed to non-Asia-Pacific pairs like pound sterling to US dollar. Most of the action takes place early in the session when more economic data is released. Moves in the Tokyo session could set the tone for the rest of the day. Traders in the latter sessions will look at what happened during the Tokyo session to help organize and evaluate what strategies to take in other sessions. Trading the London session. Just when Tokyo is starting to close shop, their European counterparts are just beginning their day. While there are several financial centers all around Europe, it is London that is the really important one. Historically, London has always been a giant center of financial trading. Today, London benefits from its time zone. London's morning overlaps with Tokyo, and in the afternoon London and New York session are both open simultaneously. It's no wonder London is considered the Forex capital of the world, with thousands of traders making transactions every single minute. About 40% of all Forex transactions happen in the London session. Some traders also refer to the London session as the European trading session. That's because aside from London, there are major financial centers open in Europe as well, such as Geneva, Frankfurt, Zurich, Luxembourg, Paris, Hamburg, Edinburgh, and Amsterdam, all trading during the London session. Here are some tips you should know about trading during the London session. Because the London session crosses with the two other major trading sessions, and with London being such a key financial center, a large chunk of Forex transactions take place during this time. This leads to high liquidity and lower pip spreads. Due to the large number of transactions that take place, the London trading session is normally the most volatile session. Most trends begin during the London session. Volatility tends to die down in the middle of the session, as traders often go off to eat lunch before waiting for the New York trading period to begin. Which pairs should you trade? Because of the volume of transactions that take place, there is so much liquidity during the London session that almost any pair can be traded. Of course, it may be best to stick with the majors pairs like pound sterling to US dollar or euro, USD. Also, it is these pairs that are normally directly influenced by any news reports that come out during the European session. Trading the New York session. Just as European traders are getting back from their lunch breaks, the New York session begins at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, as traders start rolling into the office. About 20% of all Forex transactions happen in New York. Some traders also refer to the New York session as the North American trading session. That's because aside from New York, there are major financial centers open in North America, such as San Francisco, Toronto, and Chicago. Here are some tips you should know about trading during the New York session. There is high liquidity during the morning, as it overlaps with the London session. Most economic reports are released near the start of the New York session. Remember, about 85% of all trades involve the dollar, so whenever big-time US economic data is released, it has the potential to move the markets. Once European markets close shop, liquidity and volatility tend to die down during the afternoon New York session. There is very little movement Friday afternoon, as traders close their positions ahead of the weekend. You may be wondering which pairs should you trade in each session? Very often the best pairs to trade are those that relate to the trading session. For example, during the Tokyo session, traders will prefer trading the Japanese yen or New Zealand dollar or perhaps the Australian dollar. In the London session, traders will be placing large trades on the GBP pound. And obviously during the New York session the dollar will be heavily traded. Best time to trade Forex. You might be asking, so when is the best time to trade Forex? Logically, you would think that this happens during the overlap between the two sessions. Tokyo, London overlap. Liquidity during this session is pretty thin for a few reasons. Typically, there isn't as much movement during the Asian session, so you should maybe avoid this time. It's a good time to get to the gym or have a quick round of golf. London, New York overlap. This is the busiest time of day, as traders from the two largest financial centers, London and New York, are actively trading. This is when the real trading begins. You can literally hear traders screaming out trades during this time because they know this is the most liquid time to trade. Trends will often start or end during the London and New York sessions. Quick tip: liquidity is at an optimum level around 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. London time. It is during this period where we can see some big moves, especially when news reports are released. This is the busiest time of day, as trading volumes and liquidity is at its best. You will also notice the pip spread is at a very low level. Let's now talk about what are the best days of the week to trade Forex. So far in this lesson we have learnt the London session is the busiest out of all the other sessions, but there are also certain days in the week where all the markets tend to be more busy. You will need to know the best days of the week to trade Forex. It's best to trade during the middle of the week. Mondays is always a slow start to the week. Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays is when most of the trading happens. Fridays are usually busy until 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and then the market pretty much drops dead as traders close their positions and head off for an early weekend. This means pro Forex traders only work half days on Fridays. The weekend always starts early. Yippee! So we've now learnt when the busiest and best days of the week to trade Forex are. Let's also have a look at what are the busiest times to trade Forex. Clearly the busiest times are usually when the London and New York sessions are both open. At this time high liquidity tends to present more trading opportunities. Here are some tips you should know for the best times to trade Forex. When two sessions are overlapping, of course. These are also the times where major news events come out to potentially spark some volatility and directional movements. The London session tends to be the busiest out of the three. The middle of the week typically shows the most movement, as the pip range widens for most of the major currency pairs. You should also know when are worse times to trade. Weekends, Forex markets are closed and everyone is sleeping or enjoying their weekend. Friday afternoon, liquidity dies down during the latter part of the New York session. National holidays, everybody is taking a break. Major news events, you don't want to get caught in massive sudden market movements. While the Forex market is open 24 hours daily, it doesn't mean that you should be trading 24 hours. Every trader should learn when to trade and when to take a break. Every trader should know when to trade and when not to trade. Knowing the optimal times you should trade and the times when you should sit out and just relax instead or go to the gym. We hope you have now learned everything you need to know about Forex trading sessions, and we look forward to meeting you in the next lesson. And quickly, if you have not yet subscribed, help us out. Just hit the subscribe button now. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section. We do read all your comments. Help the channel to grow. Like, subscribe and turn on bell notifications. We hope you enjoyed the lesson and we will see you on the next one.